Just a moment. Perfect. Hi, Barbara from New Mexico. Hi, Sandy. Yes, I missed you too. Warm weather, lovely. So I'm joining here from Seattle, and the weather is warm enough. Last 2 days was great for autumn time. Yeah, I'm coming on today a bit early than usual hour at 10 or 10:30. And the topic for today is tools for intuition, trusting your own intuition. Welcome, everyone. We'll just give a few more moments for everyone to join and we'll begin. It's more of a talking as well. And maybe we'll go into a little short meditation. Let me know if anyone is totally new to me or you have been with me before. So I've been working with the energies and having my wakeful moments with Reiki back in 2009. And since then, there is no looking back. Life has been much easy, or at least do you see the signs to navigate through things, yeah, with all the tools and techniques that's been acquired over the years. And so one of them is how to trust your own intuition. Something I realized that none of us were taught in our schools, none of us were taught in our communities, and yet it's the most important tool we all have to learn, right? Only wish that we were taught this at early stages, so we didn't have to go back, do all the background reverse work as well. Yeah. Do you guys agree? I think these should be the basics in the school curriculum, isn't it? Hey, Kayla from Canada. Lovely, new Barbara. It's lovely to see the new faces. So, how many of you trust your intuition? How many of you feel comfortable with your own intuition and taking that direction forward, doing the steps that are being guided by your intuition? Let's make this more conversational as well. So rather than just me talking, or if you have any ideas that are working for you, if you're new into connecting to your own intuition, do share what resonates with you so something can be helpful for others as well. So with the intuition, we all have been gifted from the time we were born. For me, the memories go back to the very young times of even as a baby, like, if there is a stranger coming in, if there is a person whose auric fields could be all tangled up or muddy, the baby would refuse to go to the person to be lifted or to be soothed for that very reason, because the babies do have the intuition and can make the decisions on it by crying or whinging away. But then we don't understand it and we try to push it on. And later we realize, like, actually, they did know better. So when we come in, we do come in with that natural instincts, a strong gut knowing, a strong feeling of what's right and wrong for us. But then we are also being coming into that layers of delusion, being told, hey, you're wrong. Like, this can't be, because the logic comes in. When the logic comes in, we don't connect to our heart or our gut. We only listen to the brain. What is practical? What is doable? Is this achievable or not? And we forget about it. And one of the things, by forgetting our intuition, the major things that we do lose is our connection to our soul purpose. Even majority of the times when I do the one-to-one Akashic records readings, 90% people do ask, what is my purpose? What is my soul purpose? Why am I here? And with all that, at any point something has been revealed to it, they have always known that, like, either to be a herbalist, like, either to be a ceremonial person, either to be a shaman or to be a doctor, like, they have always known it, but they haven't taken that action that was needed with regards to what they know. Again, just because of that, no one telling us, no one confirming us what's right for us, right? With that, it's so important as well. Yeah, last night we were doing the Akashic records. Generally on Thursdays, I do the meditations here on Insight Timers. So do come on to that. Like, it's a deep meditation to revealing of your gift as well. Again, the trust, what comes out is how we take in, how we integrate with our meditations. I'm sure you all must be practicing some sort of meditations. But again, like the wisdom that comes out or the knowingness that comes out, like if you journal there and if you look back onto your journal notes, you would realize like, I didn't take the actions because I didn't trust myself enough there, or I did take the actions because there was a less risk, right? This is where we all like always like wobble around it. Yeah. Hey, Angel. Yeah, glad to have you back here. Hope you slept well and you got some profound messages. I'm having a hard time trusting my intuition. It's telling me to leave my marriage because I'm unhappy, but I'm pushing back on it. I just finished Reiki 1. Reiki definitely helps us to gain to that intuition, open up our third eye and the crown center. That would be amazing in school systems where I'm overwhelmed and stressed. I have a much harder time trusting. Absolutely. Like, again, like harder time trusting, but the trust is like, something that I started doing is writing down the pros and cons of the message that I receive. If I follow this path, what will happen? So the biggest deal breaker was like, when I really had to trust, like, quitting my day job or going part-time from my day job into establishing my business of what I do now, like, and at that moment of time, I said, absolutely, there is nothing I'm going to lose out of it other than the finances. And if I do this, I'm giving an opportunity, a chance for my soul to dance to what I would have always loved to. And my purpose always that I remember was to become a doctor because I didn't score enough. I never could go into it. But now being into that Reiki practitioner, I do consider like, helping or connecting to the souls at their own soul level is what my purpose always has been. It has never been different. So that made me like, trusting in by writing down the pros and the cons of the actions that I would take in. When there is a less risk of it, please do those actions so you build your trust as well. You do have that connection back to you. Like, when you were a baby, what you did, what you needed to do it, you could have been a rebellious child, right? You were speaking up as well, or you were angry child as well, or you were empathic and having the tears roll down. No matter what way the words were shut down for you by saying you're a crybaby or you don't know anything, you should not speak up. These are all the ways that you have done to close off the gifts that you have brought in onto the earth, right? And think about, question yourself, why is that family doing that to us? Or why is that society training us not to speak our truth? Is when we speak our truth, we are into our full potential. We are into our full knowingness, what we need to do, right? That's the most important thing. And when you take that leadership back to you, you are a strong individual, and not everyone is comfortable with that idea. Does that resonate with you? And you may be speaking up the truth all along. Speaking up the truth is coming up as shoving it down, not allowing your emotions to come up just because it was uncomfortable for others. So ask yourself, where is your trust lost in the process of growing up? Was it in the school? Was it the home? Was it with the siblings? Was it with the friends? Like, or yourself as well. Can you trace back that memory? Sometimes as I'm talking, it might have a click of a moment for you. If not, just ponder those thoughts. Maybe journal that question down right now as you're listening to and come back to it. Keep asking yourself that question. I did put a lot of effort on asking that question for months. I don't even know if it was for years, but one day it clicked to me, like when my meditation while I was doing Reiki, that I lost my trust, intuition, majorly decision making is when I was 16, when I was applying for the subjects that I wanted to go further, and yet I didn't score enough. And I said, I'm not going to make any major changes, or decision making in my life. Like, I'll depend on others because I'm not capable of it. So this is a story I wrote for myself, a contract I made for myself, influenced by the family and everything. And that made it to be more safer. So at least one part is you don't need to hear constantly, you are wrong or you're not capable of it. When you surrender, it's much easier. That's what I thought at 16, and I closed off. And that was revealed to me. I felt like, what were the situations? What was really happening? Was that my words, or was I told to say those words out as well? And that made me come out of that cocoon or a loop that I was tied into. And when I explored that, that came in, my partner said, like, okay, let's do small things. Like, you make the decision where you want to go for a holiday and you book the flight ticket. Simple as that. But for some people, it's simple, but that was very hard for me. I'm sure like we do have those little things. We do find it very difficult to make choices as well, right? Of course, like the bigger ones is another major thing. And then I said, like, okay, I'm going to lose by making these decisions here. And by that, slowly I started building it up again. Journaling is the most important thing. You trace back, you understand where you are coming from, and what you are moving forward into is like a timestamp. Okay, I'm here where I'm moving, like, you can trail back, like, all your experience as well. So with that, I started changing and writing and saying, like, this feels more liberating. This feels more of a freedom. This makes me feel I'm getting my power back. And that way it allowed me to be who I am. And when it comes to that major changes of, like, the marriage, leaving a country or leaving your job, or making major changes, like disconnecting from a friend who has been your childhood buddy, with all that comes in a pain as well, pain and a discomfort, because you have been so used to it. One thing, either it's discomfort, you're still used to it, and now making a peace with it is coming in harder point as well. Like, what am I? Who am I without that particular ally by my side? Like, without my partner, without my friend, without my job, who am I? And with that unsafe situation, or like, limbo of that act, is making us go back into the comfort of it. At least I know here, this is discomfort I'm going to be stuck by. But then our heart jumps a beat, thinking about the freedom, thinking about like what we can achieve, having a narcissistic partner or like a toxic parent, and you want to still be there and think about your dreams. Sometimes we are in a whirlpool, we can't get out of it. And when we know when we can get out of it, it's going to be the freedom. Making that decision is most important. Take those small steps so you can make those bigger decisions much easy as well. Tuning up with the journaling, meditations are powerful as well, because every time you meditate, like it could be for just 3 minutes to like an hour even, you're coming back into yourself, you're coming back into your power center as well, coming back into your soul retrieval as well. Like, a memory is coming back, where you are becoming a stronger version of yourself. Yeah. So that's the most important thing, like, two major things to keep track of, like, on the progress is needed. And that made me also write this book, Connect Your Inner Guide, which was published in 2017 by Hay House. And in that book, I do talk about like being aware of it and the power of the intuition and the trusting, how it is so needed as well. Like, it's again, retrusting it would be the ideal word to use it, because you trusted when you were younger, and retrusting back now is the most important thing that you need to be. You may say someone like, hey, actually, I'm not happy with how the conversations went today. I really need some break. And you come back home and saying like, oh my God, I did it, but did I do it wrong? Or did I do it right? I could have been nicer. Like, I shouldn't have said that. And the way we do self-obsessed about those thoughts as well does it, isn't it? You get back into the loop again. But remember, you said what your gut made you say things, and ask yourself, did I say it nicely? So next time I can learn about it, to use the pleasant words as well. But like, appreciate. Take time to appreciate yourself for the good things that you're doing, for the actions you're doing as well. Like, and refer back to the situations when you are even connecting in the nature. Ask yourself, when was the last time I did an action for myself? What did it feel like? So you remember those moments when you did that. Little decisions, like, when you were going to the college, you started settling on your own. You moved out of your parents' home and you started establishing your own life, but you take the full responsibility of it, right? You take the full liability of like your life, your expenses, your decisions. You do it as a result of it. So that's the most important part of it. Yeah, taking full responsibility. When we start blaming on the situations, we are still in the loop of I'm giving my power away. I'm surrendering to someone's authority as well. Does that make sense? How is everyone feeling about it? Do you have any childhood recollections that you were making decisions and they were absolutely right, but then you were suppressed those decisions? I think overthinking causes a lot of my decision fatigue. Then I freeze. Absolutely, absolutely. I highly recommend, like, we are all overthinkers, because we do have this beautiful tagline saying, my family is a warrior. We are chronic warriors. We love that. Worry is like thinking about the future that we don't even know what's going to happen. And yet we sit with that, like, and then procrastination comes in. We never do it, or what we meant to do at the right timing. And then loop happens and we are stuck in the loop. And to make that big thing go deep down, and to make that jump, it takes a little more of a focus and energy as well. But again, break that loop by writing it down, saying, this is what will happen if I do this. This is what will happen if when I do this. When you weigh those two parts of it, like, what you are doing, what you want to do it, you will always notice like your gut is stronger, even though it doesn't logically make sense. Intuition, the gut is not going to make any sense, but it feels good in your heart center. That's the most important thing, like, to make those choices. When it feels good, that's the right thing to do it as well. Like, um one great example is like, do like, in the readings when I do, sometimes I'm being shown something else to what the client is expecting. And I do share that information. Say, for example, this person was asking, hey, I want to go for this interview, but then I don't know about it. But then this job is much better as well because it's a high pay, but it has to be moved off from my hometown. Like, I said, like, going for what you are at the first place is the ideal thing. But of course, like, always your human will, the choices are important to you. The guides were showing by roses, like, roses will give you the guidance. Like, these are the tiny roses, not the big ones, like, a crawler kind of a roses, like bunch of them. And then this person, after a week, she sent me a message saying that, like, I went for the first job interview and I was nervous about it. I so wanted, but then it's practically not doable as well because of the pay and everything, but it's so convenient with all the things. And right there where she was sitting, waiting for the interview person to be called in, she sees this book. It's a poetry book with all the roses on the book. And that was bingo. And she got the job offer, and she is happy about the decision that she allowed her gut to take over as well. Like, And when you are making those choices, the other big thing is I depend so much on angels for the guidance, for the showing me the signs. I always like ask you guys to do that as well. Like, if that feels resonating, it's nothing religious. It's more about your spirit guides being there for you, your angels being there for you. They can see the blueprint of our life. Like, it's like if I take this path, I'll reach the destination with no hurdles. So why don't we listen to it and ask them to show the signs? Show me a sign of a butterfly, or show me a sign of a white elephant, like, which is very rare. Like, you may not see the white elephant pictures often, like, right? So you might be or you might be reading a word white elephant, like, so that will help you to connect to, all right, my guides are sharing me this little nudge, let me follow that. So that helps you to take that pressure off you and follow your path. Being told I could do something made me not trust in myself. I was shut at home. Absolutely. Most of us had that shutdowns at home or in the school as well, like, and age of the 7 is where we start changing um, start changing to our personalities as well, like, and become someone else and totally modulated. So if you're going to go back and do the work, it will begin from the age of 7 itself, like, that is how far we have to go back to it. But again, you can definitely do this no matter how old, how late you have been awakened into, you still can do it. Like, Louise Hay, if you haven't heard her story, she is a beautiful inspiration woman. Like, she really inspired me. Is she woke up, she had her awakening at the age of 65, like, and she did all the things that she could do wrong. And then she found her path, and then she enlightened. And now she publishes, so she has the biggest publisher of self-help books, right? She changed the whole notion about the self-help publishing as well, like, books, that metaphysical books to be available more to the crowd. And that's the biggest revolution. And age really is like number for that reasons. Like, when we really start believing in ourselves, the world starts really co-creating along with us. Like, believing ourselves is the most important thing. Inner child healing is also like very beautifully connected to it, because of that reason, like, where we lost the track of ourselves when we were younger. And coming back to that inner child with no tangles is where that we are allowing to be heard, listened to, and coming into the full protection of who we are. And when you start living that life, like, of course, there are going to be people, I can warn you that, people who are going to be defriending you, if that's even a word, um, or leaving your path, or you might see some relations falling apart as well, because your light could be too strong for them. Like, you could become a threat for it, but then, like, you really feel the space is being created. Generally, after some courses being learned, like, especially with the Reiki level 1, like, a lot of people say, like, oh, I don't feel like resonating to go to this party anymore, or being a friend with this person anymore. Like, I feel sad, but then I feel happy that I can practice Reiki or read more books that I wanted to, like, so your universe is really creating that space that needs for your growth as well. Like, having no friend sometimes is actually a great blessing when they're not your soul tribe. You couldn't make the decisions, but because of the light that you were shining, and the decisions were made much easier as well. Yeah. The words that people do use, like, when raising children, is really, really matters as well. Like, that's where I believe in the conscious parenting. Like, if you are a parent, please do read this book, Conscious Parenting by Dr. Shefali, or even the concepts of it, or Gaber Maid's trauma as well, or his podcast as well. Like, it's mostly like everything starts at a young age. To reclaim your power, you need to go back to those portals as well. Yeah. The words that are being used by our parents, they did know better sometimes. They didn't have the vocabulary of any positive mindset or growth mindset or like affirmations even, like, right? Some didn't know at all. Some don't even want to learn even when they're aware of it, and some are trying to move into that new age learnings as well. So once the generation that we pass through, most of us would be from that, like, collectively, like where our parents didn't know any other better choices, and they would be suppressing because they thought survival is the only way. But survival with your own gifts is not a thing, like, and they didn't see that prosperity or abundance coming through that way, because for them, like, if you think about the history as well, most of them would have moved from their countries, being the immigrants, and for them, like, providing the meals for the family was the most important thing. Did they really have time to think about their hobbies? No. For them to get through the day, to feed the children, to make the most of what the opportunities they had was the most important thing. And now we have a more time here to connect back to our own gifts as well. Like, we know, like, okay, the world is running, but what can I add value to it? It's the question that is bugging us, and that's where our waking up is coming in. Like, now is the new age where we are really, and our children are so blessed as well. They are coming in right into the space where they are starting doing the work, like, and that's a blessing as well for the next generation. And most of it, we are the generational trauma breakers as well, where we are stopping the pain as well, not to move forward with our children. And that's openness, that's expansion that's coming through as well. And coming into that inner child, where you also know that most of the words that were used, the negative ones, were mirror reflects, or like, there was the unresolved trauma of our own parents or ancestors or grandparents as well, like, and that is how it has been, like, multiple ways they have been like attacking us with the same words, and we forgot ourselves in that whole gray area of our path. Lots of trauma in home affected my trust in self and others. Only in past 5 years I have been able to open up. That's amazing. You started doing this work, and that feels so good, isn't it? And sometimes we go back and teaching our family, hey, this is not the way, this is the way, like, but like, it's not for everyone to take that leap of faith as well. But again, you got there and you are here, you are really on Insight Timer, or you are looking on that like beautiful podcast, books that you're referring to and reclaiming yourself. And that is itself a success, like, that you are making those changes and moving forward. And ask yourselves, like, what are the minor ones that you have made your own intuition speak? With that is the collective minors will lead you into the major decision making as well. Like, 5 years ago, we had to move like from Ireland after 2 decades living there, change the continent, change the culture and everything, come to Seattle. And of course, it was a turmoil. But then I said to myself, like, I'm going to trust in the universe. By then, like, I have developed this relation on trusting, and I asked for loads of signs. I received all the signs, and I said, like, okay, if not, I have a home back, I have the friends back, I can always move back to Ireland. Like, that gives us the comfort as well. And I said the same when I was changing my job as well, from job to like part-time to like, quitting as well, reclaiming my power into the business. If not, I'll always have my good CV, like, my education as well, to come back to it. Like, what if it goes success is my question frames now, like, not what if it goes wrong, because we have been always told or given the fear of what if it goes wrong, right? The fear, the insecurity was always being trained to us. I remember as like, other than being a doctor, I also wanted to be an artist. And I asked my dad, like, hey, can I go into this college to pursue my art degrees? And he said, no, absolutely no. That doesn't lead you anywhere, because of course he was right at that moment of time, which took me time to understand as well. Like, he didn't know how to support me. He didn't see any artist being successful as well. Success is a good job, good home, well earned pay as well, like, and that's all he knew as well. I'm sure you guys would relate to that as well, like, if you had to pick up something for your parents, like where they are coming from as well. And so I did that. And after my college in computers, I came to Ireland. And then I said, actually, no one is stopping me now. I'm only stopping myself. Let me start pursuing my arts. And until today, I have never stopped using my brush. I always try to paint as often as possible. I do have a little bit of a qualification, but also it's more about the intuition. It's more about playing, having fun, that inner child connecting to, like, and for that, you don't need the money. You don't need to be a graduate as well, right? You don't need to have a steady income. But then I got the blessings of, while I was learning Reiki, there is this beautiful saying where, like, just for today, honor your elders and parents. I started realizing with practicing that, I realized, like, actually, thanks to him, letting me have that proper education. So I have the stable finances. So I can then buy these art supplies, which is not less expensive, right? So they are crazy. And so glad I do have that sustainability as well. So looking back and unclogging yourself to the past that you have locked yourself now. So someone has locked you in the past, but those have become the memories, those have become the choices, those have become your thoughts now. And right now, you also can unlock it. You can also open those doors for yourself. Let's say, like, what happens if you make this major decision right now? What can go wrong? And when that fear is there, fear is your good buddy, your good ally, then you are moving towards into that unknown, but also, like, your soul knows it, right? And that's the beauty about it, how you move into, and you're saying, yes, I'm doing this for myself. Doing something for yourself is the most important way to learn to trust yourself as well. And don't forget those decisions you made as well. Trusting yourself came out of a toxic relation in the past, or protected your children, or protected yourself from hard situations as well. Never underestimate those. Maybe you took it as a granted. You never celebrated that you do have that gift as well. Like, now is the time to really think about, like, you do, what your gifts are. Like, collect those coins into your bag and really find that blessing as well. Yeah. How are you guys feeling? Resonating? How many of you ask angels for guidance? I ask to the extent that my husband keeps saying, like, you are over engaging with them, you are completely depending on them. To that extent, I do say back as well that I'm actually giving them some job. I'm keeping them busy because they are there for us, absolutely, and they're happy to connect. They made a contract to help us through in our path. So why not receive that help? Like, absolutely make our lives easier. Ask and it's given is what I always believe in. Like, if we don't, then who is going to provide for us? How would we even know to receive help, right? And why do we need to really make our life harder? Absolutely not needed. Mm. Yeah, absolutely. From the moment I wake up, even asking angels, keep the day in a good place. Or if I'm driving, please keep drivers safe from parking, from lost things. Like, okay, I'm taking this risk. I'm taking this decision. Please support me. Give me all the guidance. Connect me to the right people. Give me these opportunities. Like, everything I do, place it out to the universe. And that's how, like, I work, co-create along with the universe. And I never feel I'm alone. um, I never feel the burden of what we have to do on our own as well, just because you got that support. Everyone, no matter what kind of a person we are, no matter where you're beginning the journey with the angels, they are always with you. I heard they're never too busy. They chose to be here with us. Absolutely. They are everywhere. There are so many beings of light, and that's what you're connecting to, like, and try it out and asking itself, like, I might do another talk about it, but like when you ask them, you would notice that you are receiving um, with a message, with a song, with a sign, symbol as well, like, and making that easier for you. And the best way is, like, if you're into Reiki, Reiki makes you that stronger intuition with opening up your third eye, or tapping as well on your third eye, or using amethyst crystal to be placed on your third eye while you meditate, or holding amethyst, or keeping it under your bed pillow. Wearing it really helps you to open up your third eye, which is your intuition muscle, which is, again, like, think about intuition as like a muscle that's in your body. If you don't go to the Pilates or a gym, you don't know that you had that muscle as well. Like, it will be suppressed. And when you start going, it starts aching and discomfort, and then you feel comfortable as well. So your intuition as well, like, a lot of things that come up to you, like you opened up a bottle of worms, and through them, like, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. This feels right. This feels right. Too much confusion as well. But again, like, bring it down to narrowing up. What am I making addition, and which is my ideal path? Like, out of, like, drill it down to two choices, like, out of four possibilities of happening, like, so that way you are really coming back to narrowing it down. And then in that narrow possibility is where you are really leaning towards, hey, all right, okay, I'm going to make this decision and stick with it for the next 6 months. I'm going to be committed and see what happens to it, like, and that way you are taking that leap as well. Yeah. And that really, really helps you. Narrowing it down always helps us. The possibilities helps us as well, like, or there is another pictorial way that I do is a mind map. Mind map is like you have a single concept of it, like, your decision making or something. This job is great, I want to apply for it, like, and through that, like, is the travel enough, like, is the pay enough, is a whatever, like, comfort is good, like, do I need to make a change? So you are drawing these branches out, and then you are weighing, like, is this really what I wanted? The feeling of it, is this what I wanted? And then if you don't feel into it, saying it's not for you as well, like, that's the most important thing, again, to lean towards it. Yeah. um Body awareness as well. If you feel a tight clutch, uncomfort, your muscles are tightening up, your belly is in discomfort when you're making the decision, definitely ask yourself, is this my gut decision? Am I going to be happy? Yes and no. Muscle testing is great. And if you get no, like you're still doing it, your body is trying to stop you from it as well. Like, but like, when you are making addition, you feel more like heart happy, expansion, move forward with ease, trusting it. Yeah. Also, I have been told by the guides is like, no matter what routes you take, you always reach your destination. But sometimes the routes could be longer or shorter depending on the choices you do, like, so ultimately you will reach your destination, and at the timing that you needed to as well, that you understand from a different realm, like, so that really helps, again, to connect back. Someone being a healer who has done, like, being professionally being a doctor, but then they change the gears to be more of from the hospitals to having their own private practice and having a wellness, like, that's more defines them as a person. And also the knowledge and the gift they have it, they combine it, like, so you do see those kind of holistic practitioners as well. So anything is possible. It's just like, we need to reach to a point saying, yes, this is not working out, I did everything, now look back into it. And backwards, sometimes we do find your jewels. Sometimes you do find your answers, your prayers, everything has been answered. And with the intuition is like, we start praying, meditating, but also like when was the last time we quietened actually to receive that, right? And if you're seeing the constant reminder through the Oracle decks are great, like, and it could be any of the Oracle decks. Like I have like 50 of them at this stage. I pick up like intuitively, what do I need to hear? And you always get that message. So right now I'm being drawn to pick up a card for you guys. I'm just going to see what that comes up. That's going to be fun. I didn't do this way before, so let's see. Again, I'm just following the trust. Like, sometimes I'm being followed by like, I see something, a message, or being told to check on my friend or message someone. I do message and they say like, this was a perfect timing. You messaged me. Thank you for sharing that message, or thank you for sending that meditation. Like, always love to follow that. Yeah. And see what happens. Maybe nothing, maybe something great for them. Like, a friend of mine always says, like, you always message me on the right time when I'm in the crisis. I don't know how you know it, but glad you do it. Yeah. The Central Sun. This is the card that I picked up for you. This is for everyone. So it says Central Sun, abundance, downloads, regeneration, and success. What else? Perfect with the topic, right? So do think about like, what are the downloads you're getting, like, and what is your success factor? Like, again, rewiring it, relooking to what you want is the most important thing. There we go. We have Lulu saying that spend this year building private practice as integrative mental health provider. So rewarding. Absolutely. Like, and recently, like, I've been talking on the Insight Timer as well. My 14-year-old, she published her book, Coping Strategies for Mental Health for Teenagers in the Schools. She does these resource fairs and mental health campaigns for teenagers. And then she published her emotion cards. So in the summer, she said like, hey, I'm going to write a letter to Joe Biden and to tell him to integrate mental health in the schools, like, and for a moment, I acted like a old kind of a old school parent saying like, really, do you think he will read your letter? And then I snapped out of it, like, I did this and I said like, shh, that's my old pattern. Like, it's been the societal pattern. And then I said, actually do it. Like, let's see what he comes back with. I'm sure someone from his administrative office might come back saying yes and no, or whatever the plans are about, like, and so she waited the whole summer. In September, he came back saying, or I think it's August, he came back saying his team said they are investing some billions in the mental health, and they are looking into the possibilities, how to make it into the schools as well, in the way she has written letter. Yeah. So definitely, like, anytime anything is possible, somewhere again, like me, caught up with that old pattern, like ask yourself, are you saying this from the light or from trusting yourself? Like, and what are the possibilities? Like, and why are we even controlling or putting a limit of what to expect, right? Like what my dad thought, what the expectations of what can't happen, like, why do we need to, from our own insecurities, from our own fears, we push on to people in our family as well, right? um Sometimes a child has to go through their own struggles to understand their strengths as well. Like, if a parent says that, like, really sits with me as well, of course, like, how could you be the helicopter kind of a parent, always trying to protect your child? How will they learn? And so, like, but also giving some tools, like, hey, trust in, like, stick with your decisions, take the ownership of it. These are the things, the vocabulary that you can use for yourself, for your family members as well. Like, taking ownership of our responsibilities will help us, like, making our choices much more stronger, much more, like, be playful as well. Yeah. Muscle testing is great way to say, like, am I in for it or not? Like, say, like, or dowsing as well, or a pendulum as well. These are external tools that you can use, but muscle testing, saying like, do I need to be moving out of this place? Like, how do I feel about it? You are just trying to press your hand down and it might resist, like saying, no, it's not good, like, or it is good, saying, finding your yes and no is great. I'm sure there are some techniques when you type up on the YouTube, beautifully easy as well, and pendulum ones as well, like, so do start looking at these tools that might be helping. Like, my go-to is, again, like, if I'm too confused, oracle cards are external, so that might help as well when it's critical. when you are really like in the moment to make decision quicker, faster, and you feel anxious about it, turn to the external, like, or ask a good buddy of yours to do a muscle testing, or pick up a card for you as well. So you are getting a Stripe Connect as well, like, so you're not under the pressure as well. When we are under the pressure to make a decision, it's super hard. So start building when there is no need as well. Like, say today is Friday, what would I love to eat today? Like, make those decisions as well. Like, what could be you're drawn towards it. Yeah. So yeah, lean towards it. Like if you're going for a pumpkin patch, like I've been always going to the same one. How about I tried something new I want to try, and so go for a new one. It's always an adventure. It's always the new way you're finding yourself as well, redefining yourself with the things that you never knew you are capable of as well, right? So that's the beauty. How is everyone? Are you all with me? How about how many yeses? How about we go to like a 5 minutes meditation to go inwards? Thank you. Thank you, Sandy. Good to see you. And I have to tell you guys, honestly, this is one hardest subject, intuition, that we all collectively are here to learn. And no one is right, no one is wrong. Like, there is nothing right and wrong. It's always like the possibilities. But us ultimately being happy is the most important thing. Ultimately feeling that freedom, ultimately feeling that inspiration, ultimately feeling the worthiness are the most important thing. Like, even happiness is not a right word, even like, you feel happy and then you're down. But consistently, like, all right, okay, trusting the next moment is going to be what I need to be. So that is, yeah. All right, okay, so tune in. If you are driving, just listen in, don't practice it. And for those who are in a stable place, going inwards, like, take a nice deep breath in and out. Breathing in, gently closing your eyes or softening your gaze away from the screen. Breathing in and out, all the way down to your belly, and breathe out. Relaxing your shoulders, relaxing your jaw muscles, your head. Getting more comfortable in the posture that you're sitting down, lying down, whichever is your space that you're in right now. Breathe in and out. And ask yourself, what would you like your intuition to show you at this moment of time? Setting that intention for this meditation. What would you like your intuition to show you, reveal to you at this moment of time? And with that, visualize yourself sitting near the tree, leaning towards its trunk, your back of the heart center connected to the tree trunk. You're well in your posture, comfortable, relaxed, and the grass beneath you is soft. Feel that energy in from the tree, from your heart center, in relaxing and out. And notice this beautiful crystalline energy flowing from the source, from the sun, down, 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 and clearing your higher chakras, and gently merging into your crown, your third eye, your throat, your heart center, solar plexus, sacral chakra, your root chakra, and all the way down to your feet. And as you feel this energy pumping in and out, feel the balance in yourself with your breath, with your thoughts, everything quietening, making space for the new thoughts, the new words to come and flow. And visualize a beautiful amethyst crystal, purple in color, being placed on your third eye, gently opening, expanding your third eye, your intuition muscle, the knowingness, your clear senses opening up in the way that you feel, sense, and receive the information for your highest good. Breathe in that crystalline energy. Breathe in the energy of that amethyst all the way down to your feet. And as you are feeling the energy of the amethyst, notice the words, the symbols, the senses, the smell, activating your senses and receiving the information for your highest good to come revealed through this crystal. Gently. Or you might notice a blankness. The words will be revealed to you later. And feel the energy that you are drawing in. Gently giving that amethyst crystal back to the universe, knowing that you can call in anytime you wish to. Feeling grounded, feeling aligned in your energy centers, opening, expanding your gut senses, and releasing anything that's not serving you at this moment of time. Giving back to the Mother Earth and charging you up right now, feeling that gratitude in your heart center. Feel that compassion, the gratitude, the tree trunk, and hugging and gently coming back into this room, into this body, into this space with the message that you were shown or the gift that you were given. Gently coming back. Feel the integration in your feet, gently wiggling your toes, your fingers, breathing in and out. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. And if you have some water handy, have some water. Welcome back. Let me know by the love heart or the comments when you're back. So sometimes that little quick declutter, quietening the space is so needed when we have to listen to that soft, gentle voices of our intuition too. Clearing of our chakras is great exercise as well to connect back to our intuition muscle. Welcome back. How are you guys feeling? Lovely. Thank you, Barbara. I do have this being recorded on my YouTube as well, so you can watch the replay. And I also do have a podcast on tools for intuition where more details are there as well. And there you can get some ideas as well. Thank you, Karen. Thank you guys for being here. So if you enjoyed this and would like to make an energy exchange, I also appreciate your donations as this goes into for the Insight Timer and for us to be here as well, consistently showing up. So we can share more of the tools that work for us all in the collective force. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And the other ways you guys can support our work is also by leaving a review or a comment on our podcast or the meditations. I do have some meditations for the chakra healing, connecting with the angels, and loads of podcasts as well. So do check them out. Thank you so much, Karen. Thank you, Angel, for your donations. Much appreciated. Thank you. How is everyone feeling? Did I bring everyone back? So start journaling, start trusting small things and making those action plans and write down those probabilities that you will go through, and always keep the statement, what if it goes right? What if it goes right? What if you're right? And start playing with that, and let that playfulness go deeper into the bigger challenges, bigger decisions that you're waiting to make them as well, and that's the most important thing. Because so far some things haven't been working, but we're still stuck in the loop, and time to break that loop. So good luck, guys, with those changes and the new opportunities. And I'll be back with new topics next week to have for the full moon next week, but I'll be adding more as well. Yeah. And so until then, our wonderful Friday and a good weekend as well. Thank you so much. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May the world be with peace and light.